Welcome in, Chiefs Kingdom. That is right. You are tuning in to Chiefs Latest. This is your one-stop spot for everything Kansas City Chiefs. That's right. News, rumors, actions, it doesn't matter. I have it all for you, usually in 15 minutes or less. But as I mentioned, welcome into the show. Hopefully, everyone is having a good start to the week. I am your host, Calvin Silvers. We have a lot to dive into today, including a debate. I've been reading your guys' comments, and I am going to reply to every single one of you. But before I do, you know the drill. It does not matter what platform you're listening on. It could be YouTube, it could be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, does not matter. Just take a second, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you turn on notifications because we have daily, that's right, daily videos here at Chiefs Latest, Monday through Friday. Season's just going to keep picking up. Trades, it's going to start picking up as well. So you're not going to want to miss any of the news. So please hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, as it not only helps me in the channel, but it's going to help you stay up to date with everything Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I mentioned after some recent podcast episodes, I've been going through the comments and I've been realizing there's a healthy debate going on, and I appreciate that. And that is whether we truly need to go after a wide receiver or if we need to go and bolster the running back room. Now, you guys know what side I'm on, what position I'm on, but I firmly believe that this team needs to go get a featured running back. Our ground game is stuck in the mud. Our offense really is stuck in the mud. But having no run game is making the offense not balanced. It's making it one-dimensional. Pacheco, he hasn't been a game breaker since early 2024, probably like week 2 of last year's campaign. Now, he's been hampered by injuries. He's been hampered by poor vision, especially of late. Just puts his head down and runs. It truly keeps him from hitting the holes that this line, while rare, does open up. Hunt, on the other hand, his vision is smart, but he's 30 years old. His body does not work that way anymore. Nothing against him. It's just how his body is. And then you get him in open space. What do you expect him to do? He doesn't have the elusiveness to do anything. You can't just sit there on Monday night and watch Bucks versus Texans, see Bucky Irving just torch the Texans, including that final drive, sneaking through the line, hitting an out route. He made Alshire look silly, got him turned around. Then he bounces off 2 wimpy tacklers. You can't watch that, look at that, and say that we have that currently in our room, that we have someone in our room, running back room, that would be able to do that. We don't. We don't have anyone dynamic like that. The Bucs have 2 starting running backs. We barely have 1. And I mean that because Mahomes is leading this team in rushing. He's on pace for over 1,000 yards. This isn't sustainable for the Chiefs. It's not sustainable for Mahomes. You can't have your franchise quarterback lowering his shoulder like he's a fullback, while the run game sits back and averages 2.9 yards per carry. That's not fair. It's not right. It's not sustainable. What are we doing? Worthy and Rice are dynamic weapons when healthy. You're likely going to get Worthy back this weekend against the Giants. Then you'll have Rice return in week 7. So the passing game at least has hope. This running game doesn't look like it has hope. We've seen it. We've seen what these guys can do so far. The run game, it is a lost cause without a new spark. Yes, predictable play calling, like that doomed 4th down call against Philly, it's not helping. But we'll get to that here in a little bit at the end of the episode. But overall, you just look at the Chiefs' run game in week 2, 19 carries. So at least that's an improvement from the 10 you had in week 1. But 55 yards, 2.9 yards per carry. Pacheco had 10 carries, 22 yards. Hunt had 8 carries for 31 yards. Pacheco, so far this season, 15 carries, 47 yards, 3.1 yards per carry. His longest run has been 10 yards. That is not okay from your lead back. From your RB1, you cannot put up those kind of numbers. Mahomes' 123 rushing yards are more than everyone else combined. His 66 ground yards established, that was a career high for him in the regular season. 69 yards rushing in the 13-second win over Buffalo during the 2021 playoffs. He had 66 in the Super Bowl 58 triumph over the 49ers. But think about that. The times we needed him to use his legs, or the times he's put up the most rushing yards, have been in postseason games and overtime games. So the fact that we need him to use his legs like that in a week 2 game, that's kind of scary. and not good, and once again, not sustainable. Worthy and Rice are dynamic ones and twos. We'll get them back. Worthy's final 10 games last season, 40 catches, 679 yards, 6 touchdowns, led Chiefs receivers in the postseason. Rice in 2024, 24 catches, 288 yards, 2 touchdowns in 3 games. He was leading all receivers in those categories before he got hurt. His rookie year, 79 catches, 938 yards, 7 touchdowns. We will get them back. The passing game has hope. Not establishing a run game early against the Chargers was a mistake because it was hard to get it going because you were playing behind. So I understand having maybe, not necessarily I understand, but the fact that you only had 10 carries, okay, makes a little more sense. But against the Eagles, there were several opportunities, several times when the running back could have been used, and Andy Reid or Matt Nagy just decided not to. So in my eyes, the Chiefs' run game is a bigger problem than the passing game right now. Pacheco and Hunt, they lack the dynamic ability to get out in the open and be elusive. They don't scare defenses. Look at that backfield. Who are you scared of if you're an opposing defense? Honestly, yeah, you're scared of Mahomes, but who else? And that's the problem. Mahomes shouldn't be your top rusher, shouldn't be your leading rusher. With Worthy and Rice returning soon, Veach just needs to find a game-breaking back. Fix this stale offense. I truly don't believe we need another receiver. So, in true Cheifs Latest fashion, you know what we're doing. We're going to start going through some potential trade options or ways to fix what I've been talking about. The Chiefs' 109.5 average rushing yards per game. It's good for number 17th in the league. We're bottom half of the league. It could benefit from a trade with the Saints for running back Alvin Kamara, a much-needed pass-catching back to hopefully fix this one-dimensional offense. At 30, he's aging like fine wine. I get it. I was just talking about Hunt's age, but when you look at Kamara, this is, like I said, fine wine. He's churning out the yards still. He's making linebackers and safeties miss in coverage. His ability to dominate RPO, dominate screen plays, Mahomes would love that. Would just give him a safety valve. It would open up the playbook. You can trust him in the open field one-on-one. The Saints, who are also 0-2, projected as a top pick contender this upcoming season, they might be tempted to trade away their running back. Get some more draft capital. Like I said, you get an early pick to kickstart a rebuild, and you have some younger backs in the wings. Now, his love for New Orleans and his most recent 2-year extension through, this season, it does make it a long shot. Kamara loves being in New Orleans, but the Chiefs, they're desperate too. They're desperate for an every down back. They need someone who can threaten defenses in multiple ways. And that's enough for Veach to get on the phone and at least see what they could do. The 109.5 yards a game, as I mentioned, 117th in the NFL. But remember this, folks. Mahomes has over half the yards of that and has both rushing touchdowns in that category. Kamara so far this season, 32 carries, 144 yards, 4.5 yards per carry, and already a touchdown. On top of that, he has 8 receptions on 8 targets, 33 yards, and he's on pace for over 1,500 scrimmage yards. That would be the first since 2018 for him. So starting off the season well, even at age 30. His pass catching, his elusiveness, it would complement Pacheco's downhill style. Puts his head down, just goes. It's going to complement Hunt's veteran presence. You'll have 2 veterans there. It's going to give Reid a versatile weapon for RPOs, screens, third down plays, truly just what the Chiefs are lacking in general. Here's the problem. Chiefs have about $2.84 million in cap space, so fitting, Kamara's $10 million base salary, it's going to require some restructuring, or at least have the Saints, if they could, eat some of it. So that's another hurdle that you're just going to have to work through to get this to work. But his presence would force defenses to respect the run. This is what's truly lacking with the Chiefs. Create some space for Worthy. Create some space with Rice when he gets back. Reduces Mahomes' need to scramble. He's doing it way more than he has at any point in his career. Kamara's every down ability, pass catching skills, I think would fix the Chiefs' anemic run game. But his extension, his loyalty to the Saints, it does make a trade very, very risky to navigate. But if someone was to do it, I would hope it would be Brett Veach. But I'm not done. There's some more options here in the running back room. And The Chiefs could find a game changer going to the Bears, trading with them for DeAndre Swift, especially if Chicago's 0-2 season spirals like we think it's going to. Because if you look at what they did this week against the Lions, this team is on the brink of, just spiraling. But let's look at Swift here and what he would bring to the Chiefs. He has the patience, he has the ability to find creases, and just being a factor in both the run and pass game make him a perfect fit for this offense. Perfect fit for a run game or just an overall team that is trying to find an identity behind and outside of Mahomes' legs. We can't just keep relying on that. But even in Chicago's blowout loss to the Lions, Swift averaged 5.3 yards per carry. He's been able to maximize gains behind a shaky line in Chicago, something that our current backs cannot do consistently with our shaky line. Here's the catch, though. It's twofold. The Chiefs probably need to stay in playoff contention to justify a trade, and the Bears season has to implode enough to put Swift on the block, which isn't guaranteed, but the way it started out looks like it could go down that way. So Veach should be ready, should be on the phone if Chicago starts shopping some veterans, starts shopping around because their season's going down the drain. Because Swift's skill set, it would transform our backfield into a real threat. Last season, 253 carries, 959 yards, 6 rushing touchdowns on top of that, 42 catches, 386 receiving yards, 1,000-yard rushing season in 2023. So not too far removed from that. His ability to run between the tackles or bounce it out, but he's even more effective on inside zones or the draw plays. It would just give Reed a skill set that he currently doesn't have in that room. So DeAndre Swift could be another answer to the Chiefs' backfield woes, bringing in some patience that Pacheco lacks. Kareem Hunt has a little bit more. Pacheco just truly lacks that. But at the end of the day, as I mentioned even earlier, play calling just isn't helping. After everything we went through, we know that the offense is just stale and it's predictable. And yes, we can point fingers a lot of ways, but we got to point to the fact that our play calling has failed to adapt to a roster that's missing its top weapons and a team that is struggling to impose its will on the ground. Failed runs on 3rd and 4th down, like the telegraphed Hunt call against Philly. They're as frustrating as they are obvious. Does the blame fall on Reed? Does the blame fall on Nagy? I'm not sure. But either way, neither of them are finding creative solutions to help Mahomes. The defense did its job. It held the Eagles to 214 yards, total yards, and under 100 yards passing. A performance that's won every Chiefs game since 2009 except Christmas 2023, when the Chiefs held teams under 220 total yards since 2009. They only lost once. Under Bieniemy, the Chiefs were an offensive juggernaut, scoring 27-plus points in 62% of regular season games. But with Nagy, it's dropped to 31.5%, and the teams finished 15th in total points the last 2 years. With Bieniemy, they never finished worse than 6th. So whether Reed's calling plays or Nagy's in charge, you can debate that. But something that can't be debated is the lack of fresh ideas. It's time for a shakeup somewhere. Could be in the game planning room. It could be, in the offices on Monday. I don't know what it is. But something needs to change. We need to bring this offense back to life. We were doing it with Bieniemy. So if Nagy's calling plays, then Reed should just take the reins back. Bring back that creative spark that we saw, that defined the Bieniemy area. Focus on quick hitting plays. Mask the O-line issues. If Reed's already in charge, then Veach should consider adding a fresh offensive mind to the staff. Get someone new in there. The Chiefs' stale play calling, it's sinking an offense. You're hurting a generational quarterback. You're just hurting a team that's already short on weapons. You're wasting a defense that held Philly to 214 yards. Reed and Nagy need to rethink their approach, or they need to bring in a new voice. Let's go and try to recapture that Bieniemy era magic. Let's save this 0-2 season. We got to throw something else out. You can't save everything until the playoffs, especially when you're falling 0-2 on the season. Well, that is all that I have for you guys on this lovely Tuesday. As I mentioned, you are listening to Cheifs Latest. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. And let me know in the comments if you liked either option for a running back trade in Alvin Kamara or DeAndre Swift. I'm your host, Calvin Silvers. You are listening to Cheifs Latest, and until next time, have a good one.